Well, we're in Atlantic City this weekend, and I'm joined by people say he fights at welterweight, but actually he fights at violence weight. Let's be honest, man. It's Vicente Luque.
Yeah,
He's joining me here, man, and I'm super stoked to interview you because you're always bring it. You're in the co-main event fighting Joaquin Buckley. First of all, Vicente, how are you doing?
I'm very good. Very excited for this weekend. It's going to be a big card, big fight for me. So, like you said, I'm ready to bring, a fight, bring violence, and put a big show for everyone.
Yeah, and also back in front of the crowd, right? It's you're in my opinion, you're a fighter. You should always fight for a crowd, because you're always bringing that heat in the octagon. Um, yeah, let's talk about this fight, man. I mean, first you were supposed to be the main event actually against Sean Brady, right? And then the fight against Joaquin Buckley came around. What are your thoughts about it, man? Because your co-main event now it's three rounder. Brady would have been a five rounder. You obviously was already, I think, in preparation for that fight. Can you tell me a little bit about it, if possible?
Yeah, I mean, the plan initially was to fight Sean Brady. He is above me in the rankings, so that would be an awesome, matchup. And that's why I was very excited for this fight. We had agreed to a 5 round fight with the UFC. They offered me that fight. Yeah, let's do it. New Jersey, here's the state where I was born. I have my father, he lives here. My uncles, aunts, and also grandfather. So it was very exciting for me to fight in front of the crowd, have a main event against a top contender, and come over here. But unfortunately, it didn't get to happen that way. But at the same time, I wanted to be in this card. The day is perfect for me. It's a perfect time frame, from my last fight, from unfortunate fight that didn't happen in December. So it made a lot of sense. So we worked out with the UFC and they found a great opponent in Joaquin Buckley. And obviously he's not a ranked guy, but he has, a lot of hype, a very aggressive style that the people, the fans love to watch. So in my mind, it's a fight that makes a lot of sense. It's gonna bring a lot of eyes, to us. And if I go out there and get a big win against him, a dominant win, it's definitely gonna move me up closer to where I want to be in the division.
Yeah, 100%. And I also think a lot of people don't know you're actually born in New Jersey, right? It's kind of people are like Sean Brady's getting a hometown fight but it's actually you've been from there as well, and a lot of people don't know. So it's cool to see you on this card. Um, in preparation to the fight, going from Sean Brady, who was a heavy grappler, to Joaquin Buckley, who was mostly known for his stand-up, his knockout power. He got some wrestling as well. But is there a big change in preparation towards the fight, or are you just always training the same way, or do you specifically train differently for an opponent?
I do I do training more specifically only at the end of camp. So
Okay.
maybe like the 4 final weeks. So when the fight got changed, I still was working on my own development, getting all my tools ready and at where I want them to be to start off those 4 final weeks of camp. So I had no problem adjusting. And I actually, when I look at, the camp that I had for Ian Garry, then, getting the fight schedule with Sean Brady, and kind of preparing myself a little bit for that. And then getting Joaquin Buckley scheduled, I feel like I evolved in many different things, and I was able to get sharp in many different areas, which just helped me for this fight, just got me even more ready to be, 100% and very, very sharp for this fight. So for me, it wasn't a big problem, the change. And we watch Hawking. Yeah, he's a great striker, like very explosive, very aggressive, very like unorthodox. He'll throw shots that we don't expect, and I think that kind of style excites me a lot. Gets me kind of motivated. Okay, I'm gonna have a different kind of view in that octagon, and overcome that and be able to bring him a tough fight. And obviously, whenever I'm in there, I'm looking to put the guy out, and that's what I want to try to do. Finish this guy and definitely set a statement after that.
Yeah, looking forward to it, man. You already brought him up, Ian Garry. We don't have to talk about it too long, but he was supposed to fight him in December. Former teammate of yours. Yeah, I mean, kind of things online going on with him. He also, I think he replied to your baptism. He did reply to that, and I think there
Yeah.
was some outrage about it. How are your, if you want to spend out, and how is your relation with Ian Garry? Do you still have contact with him or not at all now? He's with the
I
Charles.
mean, I've always had a good relationship with him. Actually, like we had really good time training together. And after we got scheduled, after everything that went on, I feel like, I respect him, he respects me, but we're following each other's path. He's following his own thing. I'm doing my own thing. Also, like he hasn't come back to the team, so he moved teams. So it's just like it's a relationship that changes because we know that eventually down the line we might be fighting each other. So now it's kind of like it's hard to still build up on that relationship and
Yeah.
kind of like share times together. But I mean, I have nothing against nobody, and I will always respect everyone, and I do respect him a lot, and I wish the best for him always, and for all my opponents, and yeah, that's it. I mean, if we ever get to train together again, that'll be awesome. He is a great training partner, and we've worked a lot together, and I do believe that we will fight in the future. The way he's going up, I know that my plans are to go up, so eventually we're gonna fight and it is what it is. I'm here to just respect everybody and carry myself the way that I know to do how to do best.
Yeah, I remember that. I think your friend and training partner Gilbert Burns was in his corner for the Neil Magny fight, and when your fight got scheduled against him, I was like, I'm pretty sure Gilbert won't be in his corner this time. So,
Yeah.
I want to ask you. Obviously, one of our best people inside pretty much the UFC or in the MMA world is Henri Hooft, is your coach. Can you tell me a little bit your relation with Henry and what he means to you, and just in general, how was Henry being part of your camp, of your life, if you want to put it that way?
Yeah, I mean Henry's a big part of my career. I even like I don't call him coach. I call him sensei, because of kickboxing and all that. Like for me, growing up, I was a big fan of K1, of Pride, and everybody from Holland was always so dominant in K1, and that's where that's all the background and this the roots of Henry Hooft. He's worked with all these guys. He's had all these amazing fights. He fought in K1 himself, over 100 kickboxing fights. So since I met him, and I met him in 2014, that's the first time I started working with him back in the Black Zillions. It just, it was a great connection. My style always learned so much from his knowledge and from his teachings. So ever since, it's been something that for me is just learning, developing, growing, and believing, on trusting and believing on what he wants to share with me because I know that his style is very good. I know that he wants me to develop into the best fighter I can be, and it's just like something that really it's effortless. That's what I would say. It's effortless to work with him. It's not something that we got to be, adjusting. And oh, I don't want to do it like this. No, he knows what like he says something. I do it and it flows super well, because it's our styles match. He's a great guy, a great person as well, and I think that's something that helps it also a lot. So yeah, Henry has always been a big person in my career, my sensei, and obviously he's gonna be here for my corner. And now I've been a whole year living in Florida, training all the time with him, and I felt how much I evolved after that because before I was just in and out. I lived in Brazil. I would go 2 months to Florida, maybe a month,
Mm.
and I would develop. But now that I'm a whole year here, it's a whole different level and different experience. Very happy with it.
It's great to hear, man, and I'm looking forward to it on Saturday. I got one more question for you, and I ask it on every Brazilian fighter I interview. You guys have such a great legacy of legends, of great fighters from your country. You are familiar with the Mount Rushmore, with the presidents. The four heads in America.
Yes.
If you have the Mount Rushmore of Brazilian fighters, in your opinion, you can put anybody on there you want. Who are your top four Brazilian fighters of all time?
So I would start with Vitor Belfort. That's a guy that, I've always been a fan of since the beginning, and he inspired me. And now I get to, have a close relationship with him. I'm friends with him. He every once in a while goes to training, shows us some things. And I think he's a legend of the sport, legend of Brazil. So Vitor Belfort. Second one is gonna be Mauricio Shogun. Man, for me, is the guy that, like, I for a long time in my career in the beginning, I tried to be just like him. His style was aggressive striking, and at the same time had really dangerous grappling if anybody wanted to take him down. And it's just a guy that inspired me a lot. After that, I'm gonna go with Big Nog. So Big Nog is a guy that I always found amazing the way he fights, and especially his resilience and his heart. And after I met him, because he works with the UFC, he works with all the Brazilian fighters, he is, a great person, a guy that really wants to help the sport develop, really wants to help all of us fighters, especially the Brazilian fighters. So Big Nog would be there. And to win the Mount Rushmore, I could not leave out Anderson Silva. For me, the guy that, changed the sport, and it just really changed, the way you see striking and all this new. I feel like he was the first guy to really bring the new generation style, where guys can do everything, where guys are not super muscular, they're more athletic. They can fight 5 rounds in high pace and very, like, with all kinds of things. Can grapple, can wrestle, but can have amazing elusive striking. So yeah, Anderson Silva, and was a super dominant champion as well. So that's my four guys.
That's amazing, man. I'm happy you're the first one to put Vitor Belfort there, and I think he's super underrated, man. I always love watching Vitor. He's such an explosive and spectacular fighter. So yeah, amazing, Mount Rushmore. Vicente, thank you so much for taking the time in your busy schedule. I really appreciate it. And obviously, I wish you best of luck this Saturday against Joaquin Buckley. And hope to stay in touch, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank all the fans. And hey, I'm gonna go in there, put on a show as always, and let's go. Thank you.
Thank you.